Well, the weather seems to have settled down a bit. Them long, fierce days of sunshine have gone, and we've had more welcome rain. I mean, the plants are really loving it, and the weeds. So back in the greenhouse, I've done a bit more sowing. First of all, I've got another 2, 4, 6, 10 cell trays of beetroot. I'm not sure this is going to be the last sowing. With beetroot, I tend to work on around about 12 weeks, 3 months, from sowing up. And I think you're safe doing that up until the first frosts. So that's another, say, 10 cells of Baltardy. And then I've been doing some cabbage, which will take me through over winter and that. There's some January King 3. There's cabbage Durham Early. There's a cabbage called Tundra and a cauliflower called Triumphant. This is a second sowing of brassicas that I've done for the winter because the first lot never had no germination whatsoever. And I used the same compost, my old worm compost with a bit of sand in. And I've actually used the same seed, so it'd be interesting if these are viable. But anyway, I'm going to give them another try and we'll see how they go. Good morning all. You joined me for an early start on the plot this morning. We had some really heavy rain overnight and it's done the garden tremendous amount of good. So I thought I'd take advantage, get up early and have a go on this bed. If you watched the tour I did the last couple of videos, you might remember that I mentioned this bed was originally going to be for seedlings and that. I never really got round to using it, and as usual the weeds have started to pick up. But with that rain overnight, the weeds come out really easy. It's just a matter of getting the fork just under the surface, shake the soil off, chuck them in the bin. And the plan for me for this one is that I don't think I'm going to be using this bed at all this season. So I'm just going to weed it, and then we'll give it a nice top dressing of horse manure and let that soak in so it'll be ready for next season. Well, that really didn't take too long. So the overnight rain has helped a lot. The weeds come out quite easy. So all I'm going to do now is give that a nice top dressing of horse manure. Well, that was an hour and a half well spent. So apart from pulling out the surface weeds now, there's little or nothing left for me to do. Once the rain comes, it'll wash the nutrients into the ground, and also the worms will come up and start pulling their stuff down. Took about, it's that bad as 120 litres, and I did about 2.5. So I should say it's 250 litres of manure I've put on there, which is, I should say it's a good 75, 100 mil thick on there, and that'll say go in quite nicely. So all that's left for me to now is go and have a well-earned cup of coffee. Today we've had a real deluge of rain, constant all day. Not that I'm complaining, or the allotment, just that I want to show you this. On the carrot tanks I've put a couple of polycarb sheets on, and what that is to do is to protect it from the majority of the rain, because in history when I've had heavy rain, the carrots have taken the water up so quickly it can cause them to split. So hopefully that will give them a bit more protection. I guess most of us around the UK have been treated to these wonderful intermittent showers, so the plants have certainly enjoyed it. You can see how the stuff's really come on in the last day or two, especially these in the brassica cage. I've got a couple of 3 collies there what need doing, and also some cabbage this side, and there's one little head of calabrese and all, so that's going to be the bonus. Now these collies are not too big, but they'll do for what we want. Rather than risk waiting for them to grow bigger and blow, I'm going to take them now. And there's another couple like this. Can you remember as a kid, you're waiting for Christmas Eve, then Christmas Day finally arrives? Well, it's arrived. Come and have a look at this. Down in there, these are the Crimson Crush, and this is the very first one off the plant for this year. That is. Give it a wipe. Just no words to describe it. Well, hi folks, and welcome back. It's been a good few days since I did any filming, mainly because we've had torrential downpours most of the day, but nonetheless I've done a little job in the garden. I'll show you a bit later on. That's related to the water. Well, the big issue I've got now is that I was umming and ahhing whether to lift my onions, because they're still actually growing. The foliage hasn't actually fell over, which is what I use as an indicator, but since then we've had a tremendous amount of rain, and I'm umming and ahhing, shall I lift them now? If we get more rain, the last thing I want to happen is for them to rot, but at the same time I'd still like them to grow a bit more. Come and have a look. These are what I refer to as my large onions, and the majority of these are the Kelsey, as you can probably tell by the shape of some of them at the back. There are 1 or 2 other different varieties knocking around. The foliage, as you can see, is still quite upright, so I want to leave them a bit to the flop over, I think, but we have got a lot of rain, and I've heard on the forecast this morning we've got another potential 10 days of rain, so I may end up putting a cover over the top of the framework just to give them a bit of extra protection. In general, I'm very happy with the way the stuff's grown outside. In particular, look at these tomatoes. There's some massive ones on. As you know, I treated all the beds with the super soil, and if that's got a bearing on it, you know, I'm very, very happy with it. There's some quite big tomatoes. I must say the outdoor tomatoes have performed much better than the ones in the greenhouse. So again, most of these are, say, Crimson Crush on this bed, but the tomatoes down the bottom end as well, they've done extremely well. You can see the sunflowers on there. Then we're just starting to come into flower now, although the need's staking up. But look at the leaves on there, and just below, equally big, that there is a courgette plant. It has gone really wild. The last few weeks there has been another big issue, or serious problem for me. And that there, the mole is back. He's running havoc through my actual plot there. There's mounds everywhere. He's gone through the parsnip bed, but worst of all, he's actually in the greenhouse down the bottom on the allotment. I'll just take you down and show you. Quickly show you the parsnip bed, and in general that seems to be doing okay. I have had 1 or 2 go like this. Got one there, and there's one just starting to go there. Now I know there is things such as parsnip wilt, and you can even get parsnip blight, but I'm not actually sure what that is. I know that the mole has actually run across the bed, because I can see the soil sinking in certain places. But say, I will show you and take you into the greenhouse. He started tunnelling in the corner, and just go inside there. You can actually see the mess is caused up here. And so he's gone right along the bed. The peppers haven't fared very well, but worst of all is the melons. Just go over the top here. You can see, I don't know if it'll show you very well, but there's mounds of soil everywhere. I mentioned earlier I've done a little job in the garden, and that's related to the rain we've been having. I've fitted a guttering system to our gazebo. As you can see, that's a fair area of roof, and a lot of water was coming off there. It's actually washing the sand off the block paving below, so I decided to invest in some guttering. Fitted that, took about a couple of hours. This is the flow plus or plus flow system, mini system. Bit smaller section than conventional guttering, but nonetheless it does a very good job. I've connected that down to a water butt here. That's 100 litres, and that's more than half full already. Got a tap on so we can harvest that. And say, that's it, covers the whole roof now, so no lost water. A bit of change of scenery. I'm on a fellow plot, and we've got a strange phenomenon here. I wonder if anybody's ever come across this before. Last Wednesday, he came down, took the top haulms off, put them in the compost bin, and left them. And he's come back this morning, now Sunday, and this is the result. A lot of the potato tubers have stuck on top of the ground. No idea what's caused it. Put something in the comments if you've ever come across this before. Well, that brings this one to an end. As you can see, I've got the raised bed onto the allotment. If you haven't seen the build video of that, I'll put a little link up in the corner. And in the next video, I'll probably be putting the wire mesh base on here. As I said earlier, in here plan to go the raspberries. They're in tubs at the moment, so in theory I could actually plant them in here. Anything in a tub you can more or less transplant any time of the year, as opposed to bare root where you want to move them when they're dormant. But I've had a look around the raspberries and I'm starting to actually form fruits now, so I'm in two minds whether to just wire this, leave it, and then actually put it in position once the raspberries have fruited. We'll see anyway. Many thanks for watching once again, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.